At the Quality and Usability Lab, we work on the interaction between humans and technology. That is, how humans perceive media and how they interact with IT. Students at our field of studies can expect that they do not only learn about the technology, but that they also learn how humans interact. And this knowledge brings, of course, the possibility to optimize products. The products we are developing are usually developed in groups and teams of interdisciplinary people. And it is, of course, advantageous if these people have different cultural backgrounds, because then these backgrounds can be taken into account if we address the human aspect of it. One of the topics we are working on at the Quality and Usability Lab is the perception of media. That is, we try to understand how humans perceive, for example, audio signals, which are reproduced by wavefield synthesis over headphones. Another topic we are working on is human interaction, for example, with mobile apps or with other technology involved in a smart home environment. Where we try to understand humans by logging what they do with systems and then predict how systems should adapt to their behavior. Learning requires activation, and in order to activate you as a student, we provide not only media material, but we also ask you to participate in exercise and projects which are taught here on campus. Students graduating from human-computer interaction and media technology are special because they have a broader perspective. They know not only about the technology, but also how humans perceive and use it. And this brings them lots of job opportunities, not only in industry, but also to form their own startup. And Berlin is an excellent location for building a startup.
Okay, so I think I should explain a little bit about the background of this exercise. And the background of this exercise is to create technology products in terms of little apps. You know, from smartphones, there are lots of little application programs that help you in your daily life. And this is a particularly well-suited application which illustrates what we understand by usability engineering and the usability engineering lifecycle. The usability engineering lifecycle is a process which defines how the user can be taken into account in the development process of a new application or service. We can take the requirements of the user into account even before a system is thought of, and we take that into account until it is lastly deployed and until it's on the market. So the first thing would be that we analyze. We analyze the user, we analyze the requirements of the user, we analyze system abilities, we analyze the context of use of where this particular application or service might be used in. We then have to come up with proposals for designing an application. That could be a parallel design where different designers work in parallel in order to come to competing solutions for design, or it could be iterative design where one solution of design is further find out in order to come to something which can directly be put first then into a prototype and then into the final product. The prototype is something we want to address in the weekly task we have, and I will present you a method for doing it in a very modern, very sophisticated way. But then let's first talk about what we do with the products afterwards. Products can be used in two different ways. First, they can be used by experts, by usability experts, in order to test interaction behavior. So a usability expert could go through proposals of designs in terms of prototypes and could see whether the user would follow this design, would follow an interaction, would be able to understand the interface. And secondly, we carry out user tests with real users in a laboratory environment or even in a field test environment. These tests are carried out with the prototypes, and so these prototypes need to have a certain functionality. And the question actually is of how to create functionality inside a prototype. And then you have to implement this prototype. You come up with the first version, you test this version, you try to collect feedback from the field, which means that you, for example, you observe logging, you observe user behavior by logging interactions. You ask for people who promote this product. You ask for trainers. You even study selling numbers and so on. And this gives you further feedback on how to improve the design of your product or service. So in this usability engineering lifecycle, we would like to address the prototyping phase. How is prototyping done? If you consider a mobile app, an application on a smartphone, this would be something where you have first designed the graphical user interface and then provide some functionality to this interface. A designer would typically take a piece of paper, and this process is well known as paper prototyping, and it has a couple of advantages because drawing something on a piece of paper is something which runs very quickly. It leaves you completely open with your ideas, so there are no formalisms to follow, so you can really design something innovative. The prototype in paper form also has the advantage that it is abstract. It's not a fully blown, vibrant, colorful, shiny version of the interface, but it's a prototype in terms of a graphics. And this graphics can be changed very quickly, and people put their own impression, put their own ideas into these graphics, and that is what is then further detailed out at later stages of this process. Unfortunately, of course, paper has some disadvantage because it's not interactive. You draw something on it, but you cannot press a button on a paper, or at least nothing would happen. So people have come up with some solutions in order to overcome these problems by having a kind of wizard who assists a user or an expert in using these paper prototypes. But this is not an ideal solution. So what we tried to develop is a method for blended prototyping. That is a mixture of an analog paper prototype and a digital prototype. And this blended prototyping allows you to combine the advantages of paper prototypes with the advantages of a digital implementation. Digital implementation, that's what we want to have at the end, but at the beginning it should be something very abstract, and this blended prototyping supports both processes. I think we have prepared a little film clip which shows the technology of this blended prototyping.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Beer. I work for the TU Berlin in the QU lab of Seabstian Möller, and I'm here to present you my prototyping table, which consists of the following components: a video projector, a high-resolution photo camera, and a video camera, which is just a webcam, and a table. You design your prototypes on regular paper sheets. Our idea today is to design a push-up training app. So far we are happy with our first screen design here. Now we come up with a second one. In the second screen we ask the user whether he feels great today. So it's like, today I feel like Hercules. So far we are really happy with the design of our first two screens. Now we want to ask the system to take a picture of them. To control the tabletop application here, we use a mobile device like this. which has an app, which I'll just start now. And I use the device to trigger the picture process. For this, I select the screen with the device. The images are now projected on the paper sheets, and if I substitute this one with an empty one, oops, we see the drawing as a projection on the paper. These big paper sheets are great because you have much space to design your prototype. However, we use the small screens to gain a better overview. Here we see an overview of the 4 screens that we created so far. We cheated a bit. We use our mobile device again to define user controls on the paper prototype. Here we define a button, which is then displayed on the paper as well. I do this for the other screens as well. Now we use the device to create linkage paths of the button. For this, we scan our screen again. And as we can see here now, this green line displays the path the prototype will follow. We can see the prototype flow in a storyboard-like view now here on the screen. Okay? So now we can test the app on the mobile device. We see our sketches here, and they behave as we planned. To pop up the interface behavior, we can load the code on the computer, which is a native Java code. And you can program some additional behavior.
Yes. So if you have seen the video, you have seen the functionality of this blended prototype. We would like to ask you to build your own app. And for this purpose, of course, we cannot ask you to implement a fully blown app, but we want to want you to make the screen designs and even provide some functionality for the screen designs. So we asked you to provide an app which has up to 5 screens of the size you have seen in the video from Benjamin. And these screens can now be filled with the normal paper and pencil and whatever you like to use in order to fill these screens with some very nice drawings. Of course, it should be only nice, but it should be something meaningful. And for this purpose, we have given you 2 types of task. The first one is to build an app which allows you to meet with students, with other students, in order to do, for example, joint exercise. This is something which is a typical problem on the campus. You might want to meet with someone, but you don't know exactly where that person is. So you send him a short message and say, I would like to go to the student restaurant. Which one would you go to? And so on. So you're open in the frame of this functionality to design 5 screens and to provide us with some information about how these screens are linked through buttons. For example, you press button and then go to the next screen, or something else which you know from standard apps. The second one is an app which might also be helpful for you, which helps you to focus on particular tasks. So we want you to implement a specific task list which reminds you of the important tasks so that you do not waste your time with something which is not important. So for either of them, we ask you to build up to 5 screens and to upload these screens in the electronic forum. And we have provided some templates for this. We ask you to upload it until Wednesday. Wednesday evening. We will close that, and then there will be a voting procedure on Thursday. And on Thursday, we ask you to have a look at as many as possible of the submissions we got and to rank them so that we have a winner at the end of Thursday. And with this winner, we will do the full implementation. So you will see again on Friday Benjamin and another colleague who will do the implementation of your prototype if you are the winner of this exercise. That's in a nutshell what you have to do, and there's a more detailed instruction, of course, in the web.